Hello and welcome to more Kentucky Derby preview content from In the Money Media on YouTube. PTF and JK here with you. We're going to start off by giving away some money because we had a winner, a cold winner of our comment contest on the Sam F. Davis. It goes to Faith Moss, who says to us, "It's always great to hear your take on the races, Jonathan. I'll give you a 5-6 exacta." Boom! That got the job done. Hopefully, Faith bet that in real life. And Faith, you got a $50 bet on us. Reach out to me through the contact page on inthemoneypodcast.com, and we'll make sure to get you your free bet. Let's talk about this result, JK. No more time. Not a horse that you or I either had on top in this race, but gets the job done in wire-to-wire fashion. What did you think of this effort?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times with these situations, we can go on and talk about this and that, and this horse. It was a slow race. I don't have a lot to say about slow Derby preps, right? I'm trying to find horses that can win the Kentucky Derby. I do not believe that is the winner of the Kentucky Derby. I don't think that horse hits the board. And the second place horse, who I'm against because I believe Agate Road is a turf horse, the race does nothing for me. Sorry.
Yeah, if we were to guess a figure, we'd say maybe 85 at this point. That's not fast enough to be significant. I agree with that. But I will say this about the horse Agate Road that you don't like. It was a sort of a speedy, okay, rally day. Agate Road did come from very far back, was closing well, and wasn't, I didn't think, asked for everything in the stretch either. Now, I'm not saying I love the horse for the Derby or anything like that, but of the horses in the race, if there's one I'm going to come back and be looking to bet in the Tampa Bay Derby, it's probably Agate Road. I thought this was an okay effort, but the time of the race definitely tempers my enthusiasm. On a podcast over at inthemoneypodcast.com, or if you just search for In the Money Media, wherever you get your podcast, we'll argue more about the specific merits of Agate Road.
Neither one of them are winning the Preakness.
Yeah. Well, that's the topic for another video you'll find here on YouTube soon. We'll give you that encouragement to get involved and comment for us. What we'll do for our comment contest this time around, very, very simple. Whatever our next video is, presumably another top 10 video after next weekend, we'll feature you very prominently and give you props for making whatever we deem the comment that adds the most to the conversation. We'll see how that goes. But we definitely want to hear from you. Really appreciate the way that's been going. And the Kentucky Derby preps, JK, they continue apace. And this one next week is the most interesting one so far. It's the Risen Star at Fairgrounds, Grade 2 action on Saturday. Race 14, 7:17 p.m. will be the time. But this is a race that has 3 horses in Eric DeCoster's In the Money Media official Derby Top 10. It has a horse in the form of Hall of Fame, who I think would have been number 11 on the top 10 list. And also, I know you have an opinion for this race that isn't even one of those. So obviously very, very salty, interesting stuff in the form of the Risen Star. And this one will probably, I think we both agree, the Sam Davis not going to shake up our top 10 results, but this Risen Star almost certainly will. It almost has to. Why don't we start with your thoughts on one of the horses that's already been in our top 10, a runner that I know a lot of people are excited about in the form of Honor Marie, a horse who hasn't been out since the Kentucky Jockey Club. I thought ran very impressively there, seemingly somewhat against the flow, but it's not a race that's produced much in the way of form. 4 have come back to run, and we haven't had a winner yet. What do you think of Honor Marie? This is a race that could set up for a closer.
Yeah, Pete, I mean, you said that this the Sam F. Davis wasn't going to impact our top 10, and I agree with you. However, I do think that this race will have a significant impact on our top 10. We'll start with Honor Marie, the 3-horse. I'm not a lover of that style, right, that comes from way out of it, and they can win Derby preps with that, but we're talking about Derby future. It's a little bit concerning there. The race was fast, and this horse does stand to make an improvement. Second, first start as a 3-year-old, right? That number earned as a 2-year-old suggests that there could be a 10 to 12 point bump if you're looking at the Beyer scale. So Honor Marie makes a lot of sense in that regard. And then I know we'll transition on to the 4, Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, I've been very bullish about the fact that I'm not a huge Remsen guy as a prep race for the Kentucky Derby. But this isn't the Kentucky Derby. This is the Risen Star. I think Sierra Leone makes a lot of sense in here. We'll have her, third rider which is a little bit interesting. You know, with a good horse like this, you'd think that they'd kind of be able to keep the rider. I believe Tyler Gaffalione is listed to run here. And then the 5 Moonlight is another one we'll touch because that horse is also exiting the Remsen and ran a similar race in terms of style to the 4 Sierra Leone. And I don't really like Sierra Leone that much. I can't like Moonlight, Pete.
I hear you. I think Sierra Leone's a little bit interesting as a horse that, you know, is going to probably need to show more speed, but I just thought ran a little bit better than it looked that day. Being wide, moving a little early. I think this is a horse that still has plenty of blue sky and could see the race run to suit. Ultimately, I didn't pick either of these runners coming out of the Remsen, Sierra Leone or Midnight. The horse that I thought was maybe the most interesting, JK, in here is that runner that would have been number 11 on our theoretical top 10 list. That's Hall of Fame. This horse ran so fast and so well against the flow, I thought, at the fairgrounds already. So that key race over the track blew the field away, ran a very strong time figure, especially on Timeform US, coming back at a 121. That's like a 101 on the buyer scale. I think Hall of Fame has a chance to be the speed of the speed and win this thing right from gate to wire. You give this horse any count?
Pete, I'm going to cover a couple horses here with this thought, right? I think Hall of Fame is why I like another horse. Hall of Fame got red fractions in that race, ran extremely fast. Track Phantom, where Joel Rosario lands, another horse that has some early speed, undefeated going 2 turns. I don't think that Joel picked. I think that Steve Asmussen decided, Joel, you're riding this one. Ricardo's riding that one. I don't think that I wouldn't follow the jockey musical chairs. Because of the speed horses, not just those 2 that show up here, I think that the 8 Catching Freedom for Brad Cox is the one I want. This horse ran well at Oaklawn last time. I think he could be picking up the pieces late. And another horse I just wanted to at least give a mention to was the 9 Cardinale, who ran second to Change of Command, who was the second choice, I think, in the Sam F. Davis. And Change of Command is still running. No need for Cardinale for me. We should do these at night all the time.
Big disappointment, certainly. Change of Command meant to give that shout out and say, was there an excuse? I didn't really see one, just though it was not a going day, as the Brits said, or, you know, it was almost the kind of run where I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and said there was some bleeding or anything. I do want to pause, JK, before we wrap this a little bit more on Track Phantom, just because, as you mentioned, this is where Rosario ends up. This is a horse that's been very much high up on our Derby top 10 list. Very interesting that, you know, he has a forward running style, as does stablemate Hall of Fame. Can't see them getting into a duel. I think Hall of Fame has more speed, but I do think Track Phantom will be sitting just there. Such an impressive winner of the Lecomte just 1 month ago, and obviously a serious threat for all the marbles, but I think it's enticing in a way of the price on Hall of Fame that Rosario ends up here, regardless of why. I think the market might give that too much count. Track Phantom is a serious contender. Hall of Fame, the one I want. I like your case, too, on Catching Freedom. Catching Freedom, the kind of horse that could just sit in a good spot, you know, mid-pack, and maybe finish past them all if they go too fast early. Fascinating race. Must-watch stuff next weekend at the fairgrounds. Any closing thoughts from you?
No, look, I said at the top of the show, I think this race is going to really kind of start to lay some things out for us, and we'll have an impact on our top 10.
Get involved in the comments, people. We're going to feature our favorite comment, the one that adds the most to the conversation on our next video. Please rate, review, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. It helps us, allows us to make more videos. And if you like our act, make sure you check us out on the podcast side, folks. That's our bread and butter. In the Money Players podcast, In the Money Media, wherever you get your podcasts. And we look to see you all the next time. Until then, may you win all your photos.